a lot of people, like what they'll do is they'll like get to the beach or they'll get out and then they start to go like, oh, I need to put sunscreen on. But you have to put it on at least a half hour before you even leave the house. Like before.
Yeah, they want
because
it.
Because it's not, you can't go down there and you see these people like down at the beach and they have like the spray sunscreen and they're just like, and it's like
it's not even landing.
Yeah, it's not even landing
your
on
body.
them. Yeah, or like landing on like the person next to them or something. And it's like,
I mean, brilliant for the company who made that because you run out of it so fast. You have to stock up.
Yeah.
Between the Reps with Brooke Ence and Jeanna Chancharulo is a CastBox original, produced alongside Studio 71.
CastBox is the fastest growing and highest rated podcast app on both iOS and Android, where you can find all your favorite podcasts.
You can listen to Between the Reps wherever you get your podcasts, but we hope you'll give CastBox a shot. We think it's the best. What's up, guys? Welcome back to episode 3 of Between the Reps with Brooke and Jeanna. And today we've got a fun topic, I guess. It seems very simple, but sometimes the simple stuff is like the most important. We are talking about the importance of sunscreen. And the person who actually really started to educate me on the importance of applying it to my face daily is the woman sitting next to me. So, sunscreen. Jeanna, when did you start finding it so important for you to, I guess,
start
protect
using
your
it?
skin, which seems so ridiculous that we would have.
I know. Well, I came from an age where, like you would, I was like 16 years old and you would get like your base coat. You'd go out with like some tin foil and like burn the crap out of yourself. Yeah. Yeah. Because you just wanted to be really bronze for the summer. And usually that was, would end up a really bad burn and then a peel and but then you would get that first peel off and you just burn it again and eventually you'd be brown.
I'm trying to really tan the deep skin.
So unfortunately for me, I did a lot of damage to my skin really early on. I guess almost a good thing for me is that when I was around 25, I had a lot of, it was called like melasma. It's like I'm not a doctor, so I can't really explain it, but basically I had like a lot of like brown spots on my face. And so I went into a dermatologist and they were like, oh, this is sun damage. You need to start using sunscreen every day, which I had never heard of that.
At 25, you said? At 25?
I was like 25 years old, yeah. And so luckily, I with some other skin products and stuff, I got rid of that. But I would constantly try to keep my face out of the sun, my chest. I would put 30 on every single day. And I just started doing that every single day from then on. And it has really helped my skin because the people that I've seen that have continued to tan over those years, you may not see the effects of it right away, but like as soon as you hit like you're like even mid 30s, 40s especially, you start seeing it really rapidly. And so even though I started so young, I'm still getting stuff that's popping up that was from before, like all the old skin damage. So if you start like really young and keep that on every single day, I feel like your skin's just going to look so much better than, say, anybody in like my generation.
Yeah.
Hopefully. So, yeah, that would be my, and especially like anti-aging. Obviously there's skin cancer also. I've already had like little things like frozen off, cut off.
I grew up, obviously,
yeah,
a little bit later in life than you, but I grew up almost really believing, the idea of sunblock, it made sense. Right?
Right.
You get sunburned. I always had like olive skin, so I never really got sunburnt on my body. On the tops of my shoulders, I did a lot of sports. I was outside all the time, so tops of my shoulders, I knew I would get burnt on there. But really, it was just my nose and my cheeks. But the rest of my body, I never really got sunburnt, so I never really put on sunblock that much. It was like that was almost the idea was, oh, I'm like not like resistant to the sun, but I didn't get sunburned, so I didn't need it, you know. And I grew up thinking, oh, if I'm swimming, okay, put sunblock on. If I'm at the beach or I'm at the lake, sunblock
extended
on.
periods of time being outside.
Yeah, active. I attribute it to being active, but I never really thought about every day to day. Like I never thought about putting sunblock on my face or my body as a routine, as like a hygiene routine or a daily morning routine or adding that in until really we discussed it a couple of years ago. And I put sunblock on my face every morning. And now actually from researching SPF and things even more, I understand I need to reapply it. And that's going to be that will be the most important thing you learn from this podcast today is that you can't just put it on one time. You have to reapply it.
Right. Especially for extended periods of time in the sun. But I think you also, a lot of people, like what they'll do is they'll like get to the beach or they'll get out and then they start to go like, oh, I need to put sunscreen on. But you have to put it on at least a half hour before you even leave the house. Like before.
Yeah, they want it.
Because it's not, you can't go down there and you see these people like down at the beach and they have like the spray sunscreen and they're just like, and it's like
it's not even landing.
Yeah, it's not even landing on
body.
them. Yeah, or like landing on like the person next to them or something. And it's like,
brilliant for the company who made that because
right?
You run out of it so fast. You have to stock up.
Yeah, but it is important. Like you really do have to put it on before you even get there. But yeah, I think especially, and men also, I think a lot of women are more educated now and like are starting to make it like part of their like morning routine of like, just when they're putting on their makeup, putting on their sunscreen, doing all of that. But men aren't doing it either. Like, ladies, put it on your men.
Oh, for sure. I mean,
they need it.
It's hard enough to, you definitely don't. I didn't grow up where like my dad or my brother or anyone really did things or had their very own skin regimen. I do think it's becoming maybe the world of either like skin. What would you like?
Skincare, beauty.
Yeah, skincare are trying to create products or campaigns or things that are more attractive to make it like manly or whatever.
Right.
And I think that's really important. Another thing, I grew up where my grandpa would go to my grandparents' house and my grandpa would have like a Band-Aid on his face or his arm and it's like, what happened? It's like,
skin cancer.
Just got a couple, I had a little melanoma.
Yeah, it's like,
got some melanoma cut off and I was like, oh, it's like, I grew up thinking like, oh yeah, that's kind of normal and also not the scariest form of cancer,
Yeah,
so like,
it really is though.
And I also, same thing, like my dad got older and he's had to have some stuff cut off and both of which, like I come from a family where the men my dad owns a construction company. He is in the sun 24/7, also on the ranch. We're ranchers, we have horses, we're out in the fields and that's just how it was. He, when he was younger, he worked at a feed mill constantly outside.
Right.
And, it sucks, that if you get to a point where it's like, it's too late,
Right.
Like I've got the cancer.
Yeah.
Like that's not something that any of us see happening at all.
Right.
But it totally does. Also on that note, keep an eye on your moles. Like I don't, and if you have a lot of them, obviously you're probably already working with a dermatologist that keeps an eye on the moles, but I have a couple that, I have one on my back, on my shoulder, and I constantly keep an eye on it because sometimes like it's been a little sore or something like that, and I've gone in and had it checked. So looking for discoloration or size. My sister's had a couple that she's had to get removed.
Right.
Even in areas that never saw the sun. She had one under her boob that never saw the sun.
Sure. Well, people get melanoma there too.
Yeah, and you know what though? She did. It was in high school where she did go to the tanning bed, but not even that often.
Right.
So then you think, oh well, if I go to the fake bag or if I go to the tanning bed only a couple of times, like not big of a deal. But you could be the person that it only took a couple of times.
Well, and I think that I think it's just important for you to like everybody just go get their skin checked like once a year. And
what is that like, Jeanna?
It's really uncomfortable.
You recently got your skin checked.
Yeah, I recently did, but like I already go all the time because I've had to have like they're like called like basal cell carcinoma, so they're not melanoma, but they're like topical and you still have to get them like removed. So like I recently went in, I had like this little flaky thing like right on the edge of my lip. And it was it was fine, but they just like froze it off. But I thought I was like going in for just that and was not prepared to have a full skin check. And they were like, oh, by the way, like, it's been a year, so like we should do this skin check. And it was fine. It's just like, I don't know, it's kind of like when you go to the gynecologist, like you kind of want to be like, I was like thinking like, oh, are my legs, are my legs shaved? Am I
wearing deodorant?
And I'm like really weird about it because like I don't want to have sexy underwear on. Like lacy, I don't know, like you don't look like you're trying too hard.
Yeah.
So I think about these things like I'm just gonna like wear some like very basic underwear,
like sleep underwear,
like good coverage. And no, I had not prepared. and I don't know about anybody else, but like I lather myself up with coconut oil in the shower. Which is wonderful, but just be really careful because as I get older, you can slip. I'm gonna have to get like a life alert because I'm definitely
honestly, please just get one.
Definitely,
or the phone that's by the phone that's in the bathroom.
Yes, because So anyway, that's a whole other thing. But I had lathered up in coconut oil, and it's gonna sound super weird, but I put my underwear on, and my underwear kind of slid over all of my my coconut oil, and I had these. It almost looked like I peed myself in all the like
oil stain.
I had oil stains all over my underwear,
which does not come out, by the way.
Yeah, no. And I mean, I'm sure like people had like way more awkward situations with doctors, but and it was a doctor that I didn't know that very well. I'd gone into him like one time, and of course, I'm such an awkward person that I was like, oh, by the way,
that's my coconut oil.
I didn't pee myself all over, right? That's coconut oil. And the guys just looking at me like, shut up. Like, I don't even care about your underwear. I'm trying to not even look.
Oh my God.
So anyway, but it's awkward because they look in all these like weird little places because you can have skin cancers. I mean, I have a friend who had melanoma under her butt cheek. Like in the crack of, or not the crack of her ass, the crease of her butt cheek, and so you can have it in these really bizarre places. They'll check between your toes. They check through your head. I mean, think about like the parts of our hair, like how many times the top of your head gets burned.
Definitely like been at the lake and had like French braids, like two braids, and burned the whole part. Oh.
And then like when it you get like dandruff or something.
No, it was a sun
or like you
sunburn.
go to like a Jamaican vacation, you see these poor women that have gotten all the, what do you call those? Like all those cornrows. And they're like, they're like on vacation for the first time and they're like super butt white. And then you just see them later and they're just like burned between every single cornrow. Yeah, it's an uncomfortable situation, but it's very good idea for everyone, whether you think you're tan or dark skinned or whatever it is. I mean, anybody can get it. I mean, obviously, if you're super pale, you're more susceptible, which is me. Butt white and freckly. That's my skin type. So anyway,
I had friends, like girlfriends, growing up that they were kind of the same way. I had a girlfriend who had red hair and she was very fair, and she had tons of freckles. And she would always say she was just hoping that if she spent enough time in the sun, she'd just become one big freckle.
Oh yeah, like a blend together. It doesn't work that way.
And then she just would be tan.
Yeah.
So like I have two sisters and a brother. All of us except for my oldest sister have like more olive tone.
Yeah, you guys
skin.
definitely have like an olivey.
And like I'm the only blonde. All my siblings have dark eyes and dark hair, and I have blonde hair and blue eyes. You're a natural blonde. Yes.
Yeah.
I have blonde hair, blue eyes, but I got a little bit more of the olive tone skin. And then my sister Robin, she has.
How much do they hate you? Just kidding.
You know what they used to tell me?
I got the best skin and the best hair and the best eyes.
I'm the youngest. And I didn't get the best hair. The color maybe, but no. God intended me to grow a mullet.
To be bald.
Listen, you're meant for business in the front and party in the back. Anyways, what I'm getting at here, I have a sister who we called her Red Robin growing up. And I'd sing that to her. Red Robin.
Yum.
Yes.
That's horrible.
Because we'd go to, like, for instance, one time, she went to the tanning bed, came home. She was so fried, Jeanna, that she put aloe vera on. And I remember she'd put a shirt on and it had stuck to her.
Oh my God.
And she had to like soak in the bathtub to
get
it off. She was so fried. She couldn't wear clothes.
Yeah.
And it was because the tanning salon, the bulbs were brand new and she didn't know.
She probably went in for like the 20 minutes or whatever they say.
And first, she had no reason even going in that long because she's known as getting really sunburned. But she's definitely someone who, and I see her now, I feel like when she was younger, she did have a little bit more of like a darker color. But she's very pale.
Yeah.
Now, for sure. And she always fried. She could not get tan. And it's like, as much as she tried growing up to get that base tan you're talking about, she really was just shedding layers.
Right.
She was just losing layers of skin. Those UVA rays were working deep.
Yeah, well, and the thing too is like, so like I always like wanted to be tan when I was younger, so I was like always tanning my skin. And then like my younger sister, she was like a punk rocker, so like she never went in the sun, like pale was cool
Vampire.
And all of that. But I'll tell you what, 20 years later, my skin, it's not just even like the color or like, skin, things popping up. The texture of my skin is much older than her texture. I mean, like she has beautiful skin. I mean, it's really nice. So, I mean, even if I get like, it's uncomfortable to go in for cancer and all of that, but, if it will get people to do it. You can just say, be like, hey, you're going to be uglier. Or, listen.
Do you want to look like a piece of leather when you're older?
Yeah. Forget all the other stuff. But, for vanity, people put sunscreen on your face and your body. I mean, I say, face and chest all the time, but I wish I would have just done maybe just my arms.
Literally,
that were
as we
out
sit
every
here
day.
talking, I'm thinking, I have my face sunscreen, and I already I don't apply body sunscreen every day, and I 100%
Or your chest and your neck.
Yeah.
I mean, you can see, and again, women can do all sorts of things to themselves when they get older, and you'll see it, and they're like, oh, Botox, filler, this, that. It's really hard to fix your neck and fix your,
and your chest.
You can do a lot
Dark
of lasers, but
spots
nothing,
and,
you can kind of tell like when somebody has like a really young head and then like their neck and chest just doesn't match, So it's like, if you want it all to match later,
put some sunblock on.
Put some sunblock on.
Yeah. It can also be, just don't be scared of don't think like it's not going to happen to me. Just start doing it. It's like just to be safe.
Precautionary.
Just precaution. It will take a little bit extra time in the morning.
Yeah.
And maybe a couple times throughout the day. But just do it. Okay? Just do it. All right, guys, we're going to take a little bit of a break, and we'll be back in just a minute. Lola, a modern approach to feminine care. Lola is a monthly subscription box that sends female, feminine products to you monthly, so you don't have to think about it. I've really enjoyed using them because I travel so much, and I literally forget every single time to stock up before that time of the month, and knowing that it's already coming to my house and I don't have to think about it has made a world of difference and kept my clothes a lot cleaner, actually.
The FDA doesn't require brands to disclose a comprehensive list of ingredients in their feminine care products, so most of them don't. Lola offers complete transparency about the ingredients found in their tampons, pads, liners, and wipes.
Lola offers pads, liners, and both BPA-free plastic applicator or environmentally non-applicator tampons. Also, you're going to like this, Jeanna, founded by women for women. And here at Between the Reps, you guys can tell that we care a lot about women.
And everyone can do good with their purchase. For every purchase, they donate feminine care products to homeless shelters across the U.S., which is super cool.
I don't have many monthly subscriptions that I've signed up for, but this has definitely helped me. And Jeanna, I don't think you necessarily need this subscription. However, you have a 17-year-old daughter who probably could use it.
For sure, and I would have absolutely liked to have had it back in the day when I actually had a period.
Yes. So, for any of you that are thinking you want to try this out, for 40% off of all subscriptions, visit mylola.com and enter the promo code REPS when you subscribe. For 40% off of all subscriptions, visit mylola.com and enter the promo code REPS when you subscribe. Welcome back, guys. Thank you for continuing to listen to this podcast. Jeanna and I, we started to research a little bit more SPF in general because we have a pretty good idea of why we choose the ones we do. But I'm never really
sure why.
Yeah, I haven't looked into researching it. So WebMD. I did some WebMD. So here's some facts for you guys. First of all, the SPF rating, it's just telling you the ability that sunblock has to block UVB rays. So already, which I actually didn't even think about this at all. Yeah. You have UVA rays and UVB rays. Your UVA rays, that is what is damaging your deeper layers of skin, and sunblock does not block that. So
now what?
So reapply. But yeah, so we're always going to be dealing with that. That's just knowing that would get me to put sunscreen on more often throughout the day.
Right.
But yeah, it's basically the number that it's giving you. That is the time. That's saying that's the amount of time it would take for you to burn without sunblock on. So not after. So it's not like I put my SPF 15 on, so I need to reapply in 15 minutes.
Right.
No. So what do you buy, Jeanna?
Well, I use something that's specifically for my face. Me too. Just because my skin is sensitive on my face. So I don't want to break out. I don't want any kind of skin reaction. So I will get something that's specifically for that. And I always do a 30 SPF for that. And I can't remember the brand of mine, but mine has a little bit of tint in it too. So that's kind of nice. So I don't know if guys definitely, if they want that, but for girls, it's, nice to cover a little redness or, dark circles or whatever with that. It's a little 2-in-1. But then I'll use just like a different, like a body one on my body. I don't really care. I'm not going to use like the super expensive face stuff on my body. I mean, I'll use it like on my neck and my chest. And that's what I try to do like every morning. But yeah, I mean, I'll just pick anything that's a 30.
Yeah, I have really sensitive skin as well.
Yeah.
And being in the gym, so that's, some of you may be thinking about that. Like, if I'm going to put sunblock on all the time, like I'm training, I'm sweating, and I don't really want to break out. We're already trying to do what we can to not have unwanted, unnecessary breakouts. So for me, I have found that I use this one. It's called Elta MD.
Oh, I've heard of that.
Yeah. And it's a tinted
really
sunblock. And they have a couple different ones. They have some because it's tinted, they have some that is a little bit more, almost like full coverage. So it's a little bit thicker. And then one that's a little bit lighter. I use the thicker one and it doesn't bother me. I use it every single day. I put it on every morning and I'll put it on throughout the day too, just because I actually use it as a foundation, like something to just like even out my skin. And I think the one I have is like a 44 SPF.
Yeah.
But I use that on my face. And then pretty recently I was working with Garth Fisher. He is actually my surgeon that did my boobs in
your boob
LA,
doctor.
my boob doctor. And he just came out with Doc Block. And he wanted me to try it because he was getting ready to launch it. So he first had the face and it was really nice. Like, it smells nice, super moisturizing without being really
oily.
Thick. Doesn't feel oily.
I hate it when they're like
and
sticky
honestly,
or oily.
Marston, my husband loved it.
Oh, that's funny.
He never put anything on his face. And now he took it from me and he uses that as a moisturizer because it's very moisturizing too. But Garth came out with the body. And it's a Doc Block body. And I took that with me just barely to Lake Powell. I was in Lake Powell for a week, and that's what I used all week. And same thing. It felt really, really great, super moisturizing. And I don't ever find myself buying anything over a 30 for my body. I have in the past for sure thought like, the higher the number, the better. The higher the number, the more 100% that sun's not going to get me sunburned. But what I've learned is anything over like 30, it only the percentage. Well, okay, so on what I found online, on Google, on WebMD, is that there is no number that can give you 100% protection.
Right.
So a lot of the doctors out there and dermatologists, they really recommend 30. There are some doctors that are more, they specifically like working maybe in plastic surgery or like your what's it called? If you're going to go and get like, what is that doctor called? You're gonna
dermatologist?
No. Like you're going to get Botox or.
Oh, well, they do that too. Yeah, like a facialist?
Yeah. I guess someone who's really focusing on maybe the beauty industry.
Yeah.
Okay. They, recommend doing something a little bit higher because there is a good chance that it's going to give you a little bit more protection versus like more protection against long-term damage, like skin damage.
Right.
But I think the biggest point that they came across with and that I took away is
you really don't need much more than 30.
You don't really need it. What you should be focusing more on is reapplying. Because regardless of whatever number you get past 30, you have to reapply it. That, like Jeanna said, 30 minutes before you even go into the sun, they're saying,
reapply every 2 hours.
After you swim, when you're dry, after you're sweating, trying to reapply about every 2 hours, which that would definitely be kind of hard thinking about it, but worth it. I guess it comes down to how much do you, how badly do you want to have nice skin as we get older.
Right.
So.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Moving on to questions. Do we have any questions about sunscreen? I mean, I don't really know what people would ask us. What do we use?
Well, I think the only question that we had was from Kevin17_, and we already kind of covered it, but he really wanted to know how many times throughout the day he would reapply.
Oh, well, there you go, Kevin.
Well, because, I mean, from looking at his profile, he looks like he definitely works outside. That's probably why he's wondering. I know my dad works outside, and My dad, I should call my dad right now. Phone a friend. Dad, do you put sunblock on? You know what I mean? Like maybe he actually has really nice skin, and so does my mom. Maybe they've been doing it all along. I just had no idea.
Well, I made my dad go for a skin check, and he literally like right after was like, don't ever make me do something like that again. He didn't have anything, luckily, but I mean, I still would have told him to go. But yeah, it can be a little bit, like I said, a little obtrusive. No, what did you call it?
Intrusive?
No. Well, it's just embarrassing, guys.
I mean, you said it was uncomfortable.
It's uncomfortable. It's a little embarrassing, but yeah.
Yeah.
He was a little irritated with me, but
your dad.
Yeah, he was fine. But yeah,
obviously, okay, one thing I will say too, because I've noticed it, even like you said, you went to your high school reunion and you noticed different people looking, we all age differently.
Well, so
we all
I've
have
been
different
to my
skin.
10, my 20, and I didn't go to my 30, but I was like in a group of like one of those Facebook groups or whatever, like where you see everybody. This is gonna sound terrible. I'm not trying to be an asshole. Like,
hey, not talking shit.
No, I'm not talking shit, but it was interesting because like you go to your like 10 year and everyone pretty much kind of looks the same. You go to your 20 year and you start to really notice the differences, and you can kind of tell. And it's not just like again, Botox, filler, those kinds of things, because those kinds of things that are there, but like you can tell by like the condition of their skin, or and it just was really apparent by the 30th one of who continued to maybe, be out in the sun without any protection versus people that had. And you knew those people in high school, like the people that tan all the time, or they had the pictures and like, throughout the years on every single one of their Instagrams or whatever, like just out in the sun again, tanning my face. I've been telling like all my girlfriends, don't tan your face. Don't even put your face in the sun, So I would get you a bubble. Yeah, I would get you a big old hat. It might be ugly.
Bring the visor back.
Super ugly. Well, our friend Katie loves a visor. Katie loves a visor.
Let's get some visors.
Brand some visors.
Between the reps, visors.
Anyway, but yeah, so you really can't tell the difference. And so I would really just recommend putting it on every day.
Yeah.
Before you leave the house. Make it a routine.
There you have it. No one wants to look like a piece of leather when they're older. Or a raisin. And here's the thing too. We don't really know how we're going to age sometimes, So I would say just be better safe than sorry. Obviously, some people are based on their ethnicity or where you live, genetics, things like that. You might be predisposed for worse skin,
right?
Or really great skin. I know for me, I naturally have really thin skin, so I really want to fight against like the damage and like the wrinkles and things like that, because as we get older. One thing is really important to remember too is as we age, your surface layer of skin is going to get thinner.
Right.
So we need to protect it, because as it gets thinner, it's already going to happen on its own. Mm-hmm. We can't really afford to, just let it shed off from getting burnt all the time. Or by the time you're older, it'll be easy to damage your skin more and more. Like I always remember seeing my grandma with cuts. Like if she would barely touch herself and it would just tear her skin open.
Right.
And Band-Aids everywhere and cuts everywhere.
Right. It's just the aging process. It's the fun part.
I'll bandage you, Jeanna.
I'm going to need so many bandages. I don't have that many good years left,
Don't say that.
I'm just kidding.
Don't say that.
I'll just be covered in Band-Aids.
I'm just going to tape you together and
tape me together. Like Humpty Dumpty.
Just tape you up. So I did put out on my social media. Again, you guys, please follow me on Instagram. I am going to be using the Ask Me a Question to help us find out exactly what you guys are wondering. And if we have specific topics we're ready to talk about, I want specific questions just to...
for that topic.
Yeah, to be productive. Okay? So I've got a couple questions from Katie Hund. Some of you may know her. If you don't, follow me on YouTube. First one, thoughts on visors. Katie, we had already mentioned that you're the visor queen.
We did.
And it's time to start a visor club.
And I'll be honest, I can't stand a visor, and she knows this. She tries to get me to wear a visor all the time, because she doesn't just like, it's not just like a regular visor, guys.
It's a big one.
It's like one of those
like an umbrella.
Big mom visors. The like rattan or like the woven giant thing that like comes out. Why don't you have like
sunflowers in?
What?
Like it would for sure have like a sunflower sewn in.
Oh, she loves those ones that have the big opening on top, like it's like the high brim, or the big brim with like the high. I can't even like explain it, but yeah, it's very attractive.
We'll just keep it going with her for a second. Best way to get sunscreen on that weird part of your back that's hard to reach.
Oh, bring a friend.
Ask a friend.
If you're by yourself, you're screwed. Don't use the spray because it's not getting on it.
Wear a shirt.
Yeah.
Not
just wear a t-shirt.
Wear a t-shirt,
Yeah.
Katie.
Wear what do they call those? The long sleeve.
I don't know.
is that?
Turtle, skin?
No. Wear your skin?
Like skins?
Oh, skins.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Like that thing.
If you're like going
It's like
like
it's
surfing or something.
Yeah, I can't remember what they're called.
Not surprised that we didn't have more questions about sunblock. Honestly, I think a lot of people either already think they know everything about it.
Right.
But so they're not going to ask questions besides the one we got about how many times to reapply. But I do think that we were successful on maybe giving you guys some new information you hadn't really thought about. So I'm going to do some questions that we have for our little Q&A segment of this show.
That don't have to do with sunscreen.
Yeah, we kind of, we open things up. A lot of people have a lot of different questions for me and for Jeanna. One of which, Jeanna.
For me?
Someone just thinks that you're Persian.
What?
Isn't that so weird? There's no way he was talking about me
what?
thinking that I was Persian.
I'm not Persian, but we have a really good Persian friend, Daniel Jahangard.
Daniel Jahangard.
Yes. He calls himself the Persian Prince.
Okay, here we go. We have a question from, oh man, some of these names are kind of hard to describe, but it's I'm just going to spell it for you guys. G-B-A-R-A-I-B-A-R. Jabaribar.
Barabar?
Jabaribar.
Jabaribar.
I mean, it's an Instagram name,
Yeah,
so it
okay.
can mean something. What supplements do you take? Well, currently, CBD. I take CBD oil, and I take iron. I've started taking iron because I don't eat a lot of red meat because I'm usually a low-fat kind of girl. And yeah, and I started noticing I was getting bruises a lot. Like I definitely bruise easily.
Yeah, me
And
too.
I'm constantly trying to figure out a way to make sure my hair and my nails and my skin can be better. And
does that help with that?
Well, I was researching because
Yeah.
I have very fine hair. I have tons of hair, but it's super fine, and it's always in a ponytail. I always have my hair in a hair tie, so I have
breaks off.
breakage.
Yeah.
But I was trying to look online, like researching like different multivitamins or what are the deficiencies I could have that's causing this to happen. And one thing I did come across was it was an iron deficiency, and I was like, well, actually,
Wow, it makes sense.
I've only just recently started taking iron, and I've probably needed to supplement it for a long time.
Yeah.
And I haven't been. So I am hoping that that's going to make a big difference. When I'm training, I do take branched chain amino acids, BCAAs, supplement with protein powder, mostly when I'm traveling, and creatine monohydrate when I'm training really hard, and beta-alanine. Beta-alanine is super great for endurance athletes, but you do need to be consistently taking it, and you're not going to have an effect from it right away. You got to be very consistently taking it, and it's more, over the course of a couple of weeks before you might notice a difference. So what that's going to help with is like, let me think. I hope I can say this the right way, but buffering that lactic acid. The fatigue, that fatigue that you kind of fill up with. Creating
sore.
And anything you can do to create a longer period of time before that sets in is great for any athlete, but for endurance or performance athletes for sure. What supplements do you take?
I don't take any.
We should probably change that, Jeanna.
I know.
I'm going to be taping you up and shoving vitamins down your throat.
I wear a lot of sunscreen.
Listen, I don't take anything, but I
I'm just
wear
really
sunscreen.
focused on my skin. That's it.
Here's one from Matt, but it's M.A.A.T.T.
Oh, okay.
Just Matt must have been taken.
That was very creative,
you
Matt.
have to get creative.
Very creative.
When you really want to have your name.
Yeah.
Any tips on how to hit your protein goals through a busy day? Oh, man. It's just keeping protein powder on you. Keep protein powder on you. I mean, sometimes I feel like, because my protein is not super high, so I automatically feel like it's not going to be a problem. And I never anticipate it. And I've had days where I'm like running, or I'm not even like on my business stuff. Like I'm training.
Yeah.
Or I'm with my sponsors and we're doing a bunch of training and photos and things. And you just don't think to eat, especially if you're constantly working.
Right.
And then all of a sudden it's too late. And all of a sudden I've got, because I wasn't prepared and because I didn't like put protein in my bag, then I'm in trouble and I'm under on my protein. So the best thing I found is having protein shakes available. If you're traveling, do things like you do this a lot, pre-measured out protein powder in little bags or maybe already in shaker bottles in your bag ready to go. So all you have to do is add water. And other than that, I do travel with, because I'm with Trifecta Nutrition, chicken breast. When I go on,
You do.
When I travel, I will put it in bags or I'll put it in Tupperware.
You just pull
and
it out
I
and start
just eat
nibbling.
cold chicken breast. I do.
I know.
I don't hate it. I love it. And
No, it's delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I
can be a
know,
little smelly
I know
when you
that
open
if
it
I'm
up
like
in an
eating simple
airplane.
stuff, my macros are good. You definitely try to supplement.
Oh no, I definitely do because
you probably
I'm
focus on that more than anything. Is
I
making
do.
sure you get protein.
I
in.
do. I'm really bad at. I don't count my numbers as well, like you do, and I mean, I need to, but I'm just not that great with it. But I do know that I don't get enough protein, so I try to like start my day off with protein, like a scoop of protein powder, and then I always try to like end it if I can, especially if I'm at home in a routine. But yeah, I mean, it is the easiest thing just to go grab. You can go grab those protein shakes as long as the numbers are low. 7-Eleven.
Yeah, 7-Eleven.
Quick stop.
Yeah, there's tons of options.
not the best
and I
ways.
feel like anywhere you go.
Hey, if you're perfect, you meal prep every single day.
Yeah, hey, if you're inspirational, you're really good at meal prepping.
Yeah, but not all of us are. So
Sorry, that was a subtle joke about, I don't know, people that...
meal prepping's great, people, but it's not.
No. Okay.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
It is totally great.
Yeah.
And I will say, like, we're a special case, and I think any athlete's a special case. For me, I've got Trifecta. Not everyone can do that. Not everyone's going to have someone sending them food, or not everyone's going to be living in a time frame or a routine where you plan on being home.
Right.
So it is great. And I commend the people that have full-time jobs that are committed to their diet, because you guys are really doing some amazing shit at home, prepping your stuff and being super committed, and that is amazing. Or like the people that go to the gym at like 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
My mom she wakes up at 4 and she's a 5 a.m. class every day. I mean, she's an early bird.
Yeah.
But that's hard, man. Do that and then work a full day. I'm like, what I do to train for like to be good in like in competition, that's hard, and that's a different kind of hard. But someone who is willing to go through those hours, that's some...
It's awesome.
You do power moves.
But stop being so inspirational, because it makes the rest of us feel like crap.
Gina's sick of
Stop it.
Gina's sick of you guys flaunting
I'm sick of those pictures of everyone's meal prep. My God. I get it. You made all your meals for the week.
It just makes, she has
Put
to
them
think,
in little packages.
she just feels like she's reminded that she should probably do that.
Exactly. It's just my own problem.
My own
Anyway,
insecurity.
but we're going to address more of that on our next episode.
We are. On
Yeah.
our next episode, we are going to be talking about diet and travel. You guys talk to me about that all the time. You don't talk to me about it. I feel like you're talking to me, but you're actually just asking me questions.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's about time to do it, I guess. So we'll see you next week on Between the Reps with Brooke and Jeanna.
Episode 4.
Episode 4. Please check in. We'd love to have you.